You're not as sharp as you believe you are. And I'm about to prove it to you in the next few minutes, right this second. Someone sitting 3 layers above you is pulling moves that will dictate your next 5 years, and you're completely blind to it. You tell yourself you're choosing your path. You convince yourself you're the one in the driver's seat. But you're not. You're just responding, running scripts someone else installed deep inside you, competing in a match where you don't even know the real rules. And the darkest part, you were conditioned to believe this makes you clever. They handed you exams. You aced them. They issued you diplomas. You framed them. They taught you that recalling facts and obeying directions equals brilliance, and you swallowed it whole. But that's not brilliance. That's compliance dressed up in awards. True intelligence is something else entirely. It's the capacity to perceive what's really going on while the masses are fixated on the illusion they're fed. It's knowing exactly when to strike, when to hold back, and when to let another fool take the fall. It's grasping that the one who appears dominant isn't always the one holding real power. Machiavelli saw this 5 centuries ago. He observed empires rise and crumble, watched rulers worshipped one moment and butchered the next, and he uncovered the truth no one wants to face. Morality doesn't decide winners. Comprehension does. The world doesn't reward virtue. It rewards effectiveness. There's a structure to all this, 10 distinct levels, and the vast majority die without ever climbing beyond level 3. They waste their existence, imitating, reacting, posturing, never pausing to question if any of it is authentic. You could be stuck at level 1 right now and not realize it. You might fancy yourself at level 7 when you're barely scraping level 2. That chasm between your self-image and your actual position, that's the source of every frustration you feel. This message is going to unsettle you because I'm not here to stroke your ego. I'm here to expose exactly where you stand today, not where you wish you were, not where you posture to be, where you truly are in the choices you're making right this moment. Some of you will spot yourselves near the bottom and immediately get defensive. Others will recognize they've been stalled midway for years. And a rare few, maybe 1 or 2 reading this, will see yourselves near the peak and finally understand why the world feels so alien to you. By the time we're done, you'll know precisely which level dominates your existence. You'll know what's anchoring you there, and you'll know the price of ascending. But knowledge alone changes nothing. Most will absorb every word, nod along, and remain exactly where they are. Because climbing demands destroying pieces of who you are now, and almost no one has the stomach for that. Do you? Drop this declaration in the comments. I control reality. Let's discover where you truly stand. BR Level 1. The Sleeper. This is where the majority reside, completely unaware. The sleeper isn't unconscious in the literal sense. They're walking, speaking, working, deciding. But none of it originates from them. It's all pre-recorded reaction. They rise when society signals, consume what ads dictate, think what narratives command, fear what power structures demand. And they never question the source of those commands. The sleeper only moves when pushed. Someone attacks, they deflect. Someone speaks, they echo. They never originate, never invent, never think past the stimulus directly in front of them. Their views aren't theirs, borrowed from the loudest voice or the most recent feed. Their convictions soaked up from parents, peers, algorithms. Their life direction set by whoever was pointing when they sought guidance. Ask a sleeper their stance on an issue, and they'll parrot the headline, the trending post, the group consensus. Not deceitfully, but because they honestly believe it's original thought. They can't distinguish genuine thinking from repetition. The sleeper craves 3 pillars: authority, repetition, agreement. They want clear orders to avoid responsibility. They want daily sameness to avoid adaptation. They want universal alignment to feel secure. Why? Independent thought is frightening. It risks error. It risks isolation. It demands ownership of consequences. The sleeper cannot bear that burden. so they remain asleep, and the system adores them for it. Because the sleeper is raw material. Their obedience fuels machines that require submission to operate. They labor in roles they never challenge, purchase junk they don't require, champion agendas they barely grasp, and label it living. You witness this constantly. The employee who shrugs, "I just work here," and truly means it. The outraged citizen who rages at titles but skips the article. The routine follower who repeats the same cycle and wonders why nothing evolves. They're not dumb, they're dormant. And dormant minds resist awakening through argument. You can't logic someone into consciousness. They must choose it themselves. Machiavelli observed, "Men judge more by appearances than by touch, for all can see but few can truly feel. The sleeper sees only surfaces. They miss the undercurrents dragging them like driftwood." Waking from this stage is agonizing because it forces admission that most of your life wasn't yours. The opinions you fought for weren't yours. You've been a passenger masquerading as pilot. Most never wake. They enter the world, get programmed, get exploited, get buried, all without a single authentic thought, without one instant of true awareness. If you're growing defensive right now, pause and ask, which raw nerve just got exposed? Level 2. The believer. The believer tasted that initial jolt of awareness, sensed the manipulation, rejected the old master, and promptly chained themselves to a new one. They discovered a doctrine, a crusade, an ideology. That offered a tidy lens for reality. Then they ceased questioning and began professing. Politics, faith, activism, conspiracies, irrelevant which flavor. The key is they delegated their cognition to it. The belief system now handles the heavy lifting, dictating allies and enemies, truths and heresies. The believer feels enlightened because they spurned the mainstream narrative. No more corporate media, no more herd thinking. They're in an exclusive circle that gets it. But they're equally enslaved, just tuned to a different frequency. The sleeper bows to overt authority. The believer bows to sacred ideology. Different leash, identical captivity. The believer conflates ethical superiority with intellectual superiority. They assume correct convictions equal sharp thinking. Fighting the noble fight equals awakening. But holding accurate views and thinking rigorously are distinct skills. You can be historically righteous, yet strategically impotent. You can stand on truth's side and still lack any leverage to shift outcomes. The believer misses this because their self-worth is fused to their dogma. Probe the doctrine and you probe their core. They defend ferociously, predictably, desperately. Trigger phrases produce scripted outrage. No reflection, just reflex masked as passion. Righteousness is intoxicating. It delivers belonging, purpose, moral high ground. But it's not intelligence. It's slumber with superior branding. Believers swarm discourse, preaching instead of discussing, bristling at dissent, equating disagreement with assault. They see themselves as truth's vanguard. In reality, they're infantry in someone else's campaign, marching to orders disguised as epiphany. The leap from sleeper to believer feels liberating, finally seeing hidden truths, finally belonging to the aware. But it's false liberation, just a shinier shackle. True intelligence never halts at belief. It relentlessly probes, what if this too is wrong? The believer cannot tolerate such doubt. It feels like treason. Level 3, the mimic. The mimic discovered a shortcut. Projecting intelligence yields rewards without the labor of possessing it. Sound profound and doors open. Respect flows, opportunities arrive. So the mimic assembled a toolkit of phrases, citations, postures, and deployed them for optimal impact. They perform depth rather than cultivate it. In most arenas, performance suffices. They wield jargon, rare allusions, credentialed rhetoric, name-drop thinkers and texts. It dazzles. Probe for plain explanation, and they falter. They memorize the echo, not the essence. Mimics flourish where optics trump outcomes. Digital platforms are their paradise. Craft a profound-sounding post, harvest likes, repeat. No application required. They adapt coloration by audience, not cynical deception, just reflexive mirroring. Lacking core conviction, they reflect whoever stands before them. The mimic can deceive higher levels temporarily. Polished delivery, confident cadence. Vels cannot discern mimicry from mastery, but reality unmasks them. Pressure demands substance, and mimics collapse. They recite solutions but cannot generate them. They debate borrowed arguments but crumble before novel problems. They know what wise voices say, not how wise minds operate. This tier teems with summary readers posing as scholars, quoters of uncomprehended ideas, wielders of complexity as smokescreen. Machiavelli warned, "Everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience what you are." The mimic is pure appearance. Eventually, exposure arrives because reality prizes results over resonance. Ascending demands agony, abandon craving to seem clever, and pursue actual efficacy. Trade claps for conquests. Most mimics refuse. The applause is too sweet, the dopamine of perceived progress too addictive. Level 4, the calculator. Here the paradigm flips. The calculator abandons theater for results. They don't seek admiration for intellect, they seek victory. They scan any scenario and detect what others overlook, motives, leverage, pitfalls. They ask not what ought to occur, but what will occur, not what's fair, but what functions. Rules are terrain to navigate, not debate. Morality is instrument, not absolute. Every code advances someone's agenda, and ignorance of that agenda makes you the meal. Where others react viscerally, calculators strategize coldly. Insulted, they assess utility, threat, irrelevance, then respond accordingly. Always several steps ahead. While you process the jab, they're orchestrating fallout and follow-ups. Machiavelli's fox, sly, elusive, snare-savvy. They detect traps early, spot ploys instantly, yet paranoia creeps in. Once you perceive universal machinery, trust evaporates. Every favor carries cost. Every gesture conceals intent. Effectiveness comes at exhaustion. Every exchange a chess match. Every bond transactional. Limitation. Calculators master existing games but did not author them. They exploit rules without rewriting them. You spot them as perennial survivors, always landing upright, foreseeing shifts, dodging calamities. They thrive, but remain bounded by the board's design. Ascending demands courage the calculator often lacks. Vision is useless without audacity to act upon it. Drop this in comments. I see the game. Level 5, the operator. The operator fuses calculation with decisive action. They execute the ruthless calls. The unpopular plays others fear. No waiting for certainty, approval, harmony. They advance. Chaos energizes them while others fracture. They lead openly, undeniably. Machiavelli's lion, bold, imposing, magnetic. Everyone recognizes the operator as the force driving events. That visibility grants immense power, yet paints a massive target. Enemies pinpoint you, rivals track you, usurpers plot directly. Scrutiny is relentless, mistakes magnified, blame inescapable. Rest becomes impossible. Every crisis becomes yours. This is the archetype most equate with power, the overt commander. Why? Each visible power is inherently fragile. Intensity burns hot but brief. History's operators, conquerors, reformers, reshaped eras through sheer will but rarely endured. Machiavelli, better feared than loved when both unavailable. Operators grasp this, prioritizing impact over affection. But fear erodes, stronger lions emerge. Wise operators eventually discern that overt dominance invites overthrow, and subtler control endures. Level 6, the puppeteer. The puppeteer masters the lesson operators miss. Unseen power trumps seen power. They abandon brute force for influence, commands for nudges, confrontation for orchestration. They don't dictate, they cultivate desire for obedience. Outcomes bend their way without visible fingerprints. Masters of psychology, they read motives instantly and deploy precise pressure, timed revelations, framed choices, emotional levers. People become unwitting extensions of their intent. Relationships are leverage, conversations calibration. Not cruelty, pure strategy. Cost, erosion of authentic self. Perpetual performance fuses mask to face. The actor forgets their original features. Power vast, yet isolation absolute. No one encounters the real them, perhaps not even themselves. These are the shadows, advisors, fixers, invisible influencers. Credit rejected, control embraced. Harder to combat than operators. You cannot strike what you cannot locate. Yet the price is existential hollowness. Level 7. The Architect. The architect abandons individual games entirely and builds new ones. Temporary victories bore them. Permanent structures fascinate. They craft systems, incentives, norms that constrain future possibilities. While others battle today's skirmishes, architects own tomorrow's battlefield. Thinking in epochs, planting decades-deep roots. Detached from daily drama, their influence compounds invisibly. Control the environment, and you control all who inhabit it, without ongoing effort. Rebellion becomes impossible when rebels accept the premises. Architects appear inactive to lower levels. Their labor manifests slowly, pervasively. By realization, escape is impossible. Founders of enduring institutions, framers of paradigms, Machiavelli, adapt conduct to times. Architects do better, they define the times. Sacrifice, immediate glory for eternal imprint. Level 8. The Sovereign. The sovereign masters the internal realm completely. External control becomes irrelevant beside absolute self-command. Emotions arise, observed, never obeyed. Reactions chosen, never compelled. Power derives from unbreakable inner citadel, untakeable, ungivable. They engage the game only when beneficial, detached from outcomes. True freedom, desiring nothing vulnerable to loss. They can be stripped of everything yet remain intact. Lower levels misunderstand this as withdrawal, its transcendence. Rare because it demands ego death. Most cling to familiar identity over liberation. Dro. P. This. I am sovereign. Level 9. The Void. Complete release. No ego, no fear, no attachment, even to existence. Nothing graspable for manipulation, threat, or temptation. They perceive the entire matrix with crystalline clarity, yet act minimally. Most motion is meaningless. Unpredictable because unbound by human drivers. Lower levels misread this as defeat, its ultimate potency. Nothing to defend, nothing to pursue renders one invincible if movement occurs. But movement rarely does. Illusion recognized, participation withdrawn. Formless power. Level 10. The Myth. Transcendence of individuality. They become archetype, enduring idea shaping reality long after physical departure. Influence persists through inspired actions, embedded frameworks. Not person but principle. Machiavelli himself, centuries dead, still steering power thought. Inevitable, intangible, eternal. Drop this I am inevitable. So, where are you truly? Not aspiration, not pretense, current reality. Most plateau below level 4, serving as predictable components in others' designs. Systems reward obedience as merit, performance as genius, because genuine perception threatens order. Ascension demands relentless illusion shattering, sacrifice at every threshold. Most prefer comfort to clarity. But if this pierced you, if discomfort stirred recognition, then the shift begins now. Stop reacting, start choosing, become uncontainable. The choice always existed, most simply never noticed. If this exposed what why, needed exposed, share it with someone ready, and keep watching. We are diving deeper into the mechanics that separate controlled from controllers. Your real move starts right now.